Welcome back to Group E, the up and down matches for WCS Korea. Find out who's going to Code S here. So far, only one player has been eliminated, and that is GSL champion Roro.
Yeah, and we had another really interesting result since Marine King versus Dia. Marine King was looking at this game, was like, well, you know what, if I win this game, I might be the first in the group. And he's like, nah, I want to be second place. So he threw it away. And now it's looking a little bit peculiar for him. Marine King might not be able to advance today, jokes aside.
Yeah, what a wacky game we saw there. That was pretty nuts.
Deer is now in a 2-0 spot, and if he wins his next game against Swagger, then he is in the Premier League next season. So he's one of those players who can make it happen in the next map already. Whereas Roro, as already mentioned, is out of the group. He cannot advance anymore. He will play in the Challenger League next season.
Deer really has impressed me so far today. Sure, he's only played 2 games, and one of the games he won was not even really his success, but the idea that he has there, he plays a similar build to his teammate we saw yesterday. Tuperos is being aggressive against players who are known for CC first, just showing that intelligence. The game against the Zerg player he played earlier with the really good run buys just looked really, really strong, and I have to say, like, I'm impressed with him today so far.
The game against Curious was definitely a very impressive performance. I really liked that a lot. Against Marine King, he lost the match, and then Marine King was like, you know what? Here, take it. Please
that's like the kind of thing when you're like killing your opponent's last building, then you drop off Battle.net or something, you lose the game. Like that's the type of feeling that he's gonna have right now.
No. If you drop off Battle.net, it's usually not your own fault. It was like really Marine King deciding to not take the win. He was like, okay, you know what? I don't want this. I got it, but I don't want this. It was like him being handed a present. He's like, can I take that back? It's like, yeah.
I wanted him to change his ID to Greedy King Prime.
To be quite honest with you, I really hope for Marine King's sake that he's getting out of the group, because if you don't get out of a group like this because you lost a game in such a fashion, I am afraid for him. I feel he needs to get a suicide watch or anything, because like seriously, like, I would off myself if I would get out, if I would be stuck in the Challenger League for another season because I throw a game like this away. You keep me away from bridges. It's like, oh my god.
Well, you know, I gotta say, he's gotta be feeling terrible, but, you know, being on a 1-1 score is not, it's not a tragedy like being on an 0-2 score or even Rose's case being
it's
already
still
out
in his hands.
It's still in his hands.
He has 2 matches left. He has the match against Swagger and the match against Curious left. We saw his performance against Zerg already when he was facing Roro. Roro kind of getting the image of the punching ball in the group, but still, Marine King's TVZ is pretty spectacular these days. So Curious will definitely be in some trouble there, especially since his own Zerg versus Terran doesn't seem too impressive.
Yeah. We have a Pros versus Pros coming up next, though.
Yeah.
Deer versus Swagger, and this decides Deer's fate if he wins. If he wins, he's already out. Killer, on the other hand, Songho, Swagger, Baby Bye-Bye, whatever you want to call him.
He has so many nicknames.
He has shown so many different crazy builds today. I feel like he's going to do like a 4-gate Warp Prism all-in, or he's going to hide a Dark Shrine in his opponent's main base, or he's going to 2-gate Proxy, or he's going to Cannon Rush. If he just does like a Sentry Expand with Mothership Core and goes into Phoenix or something, I'll be like, whoa, what is going on? Why are you playing so normal right now?
I would love if he goes back to his old build where he opens with Forged Cannons against Protoss.
I would not put it past him. That would be a crazy thing. It wouldn't be an all-in, but it would be crazy enough to where I said, yeah, that's definitely Swagger in the booth, yeah, for sure.
The thing is, with Swagger, you just never know what you get. It's like, yeah. It's like one of these magic boxes where you have no idea what's inside.
He's having some issues with his headsets again.
Of course. I mean, that's the one thing that you expect there. Well, let's jump into the game and see what's going on there. Belcher Vestige is one of those maps where I have a couple of really interesting cannon spots as well. Not necessarily against Protoss, but we've seen cannon builds against in PvP every now and then. So we've seen it especially on Belcher Vestige. This is one of those maps where you can't pull that off. But let's find out what exactly Dia is up to. I mean, Dia in this matchup has a 52% win ratio. Swagger hasn't played too many games. He has actually played 2 maps, one against Creator, one against Jungbi. He won the match against Creator, dropped the map against Jungbi, so not a lot to go on here. And that's one of the reasons why he might surprise us, because we do not have a lot of statistics for him.
Yeah, almost none here, so not a whole lot of televised matches. We'll see. He's shown some pretty swaggy games so far. He's up against Deer here. Deer wins. He's out of the group. So the GSL up and downs with Counter and Wolf.
And we have our first Protoss player in this game, starting to the top left. This is, of course, for Team MVP.
MVP Swagger.
No proxy. Piling in the main.
The man with the swag and the trouble with his headphones. To the bottom right, we have his opponent for STX Seoul with a 2-0 lead in this group. This is
STX Seoul Deer.
And this bad boy will be in the Premier League if he takes the game against Swagger. If he wins this, then he's through with a 3-0 score. The first player to advance.
Yeah, this is a great position for Deer right now. Especially after that last game, he's got to be feeling like almost Cloud 9 level, going, alright, well, that was not supposed to be a win, but I won it, I took a risk.
It will take, you know, every single time I see Marine King do something like this, I feel that he doesn't think about like the viewers out there, because it's going to take me at least a week to get over that game.
Yeah.
I will have nightmares about it. I will have nightmares where I am in the same position that, you know, I'm controlling Marine King's units and I'm like, sick, I won it. And then suddenly I see the bunker salvaging, like, no! You know, the hand stretches out in your dream, like, no! Don't do it! And the bunker is gone and suddenly you see all those units making their way up the ramp. You're like, why?
And you wake up and realize it was all a dream, but in this case it was not.
Yeah, you wake up screaming like your neighbors, they already called police because they're like, what are those sounds coming out of the apartment next door? They're all worried. Police kicks in your door, your whole life goes down the drain, and it's Marine King's fault.
It's Marine King's fault, man. I guarantee I'll be referencing that game next time I cast Marine King, whether he gets out or not.
The thing is, like, he comes back in such a beautiful fashion in this group. How much did he struggle in the GSTL?
It was
the
a
Fantastic Four. He lost most of these games in the Challenger League. He had so sometimes just bad luck with his opponents going up against players like Life who just destroyed him, and everyone was like, yeah, well, it's Marine King, he's always playing greedy, and what do you expect? And yeah, he's in the slump. And then he plays such beautiful games here today and loses a game because of this. It's heartbreaking. I mean,
look at this color. What is this? Right now, Deer's
this is
like
the swag.
Deer took his second gas very late because he was trying to be safe, and he wanted to make sure he had anything against the 4-gate. He would also be able to send the Zelda out to scout. Now he sees a Nexus, and he's just sitting there going, what? Same thing I'm feeling right now. Swagger is changing it up. He's flipping the table upside down, and the Stargate comes out here for Deer, and I'm feeling, you know, is that the appropriate response to seeing a Nexus? We're going to find out. You know, with this, okay, you could go Phoenixes, yes, but, you know, with the probe production that Swagger's going to have, if he loses a few probes here or there, it's not going to be too big a deal. Goes Oracle, it's too late, and Void Rays? I don't know. Oh, he's adding 2 gates. I think he's just going to go Void Rays.
He might.
He's going to do a Void Ray all-in, I think, just like we would do against a Terran player.
Well, for now we have actually a Stalker versus Mothership Core. That's a pretty uneven fight. That one sentry is of course going to help a little bit with the force field on the ramp, but the Nexus has to take those punches. That shouldn't be a big issue, but we have actually not a Void Ray. We see an Oracle.
This is so interesting because if you make an Oracle, then you make your own Nexus and you try to kill some probes to even out the economy. That's one thing. He must have some build plan that I have not yet seen. I like this micro that we're seeing so far from Deer, just really starting to work at that core. If he could bait out an overcharge, that would be awesome.
There's the pilot.
Yeah.
I don't know if he saw that.
And the Oracle will come out very fast, much faster than a Void Ray, and he can also kill sentries with it.
He needs that photon overcharge.
He will need it, but he needs to wait until the last second to deploy it.
And I mean, that the energy, the shields are getting pretty low. He's losing hit points.
Yeah.
He needs that photon overcharge.
I think he's going to use it as soon as he sees that Oracle. The Oracle goes into the main base. He uses it here at the natural. Probes are pulled. The sentries are not going to be enough anti-air here. He needs a Stalker.
The Stalker is on its way, but it's not there just yet. The Oracle is still on the move, but there is the photon overcharge. This is one of the closest defenses that I've ever seen, but is that actually, if he holds here?
The second Oracle's on the way, and there's way too many Stalkers for him to hold this Nexus. I think he might actually just have to go into the main base and retreat the natural, because...
Double Oracle, and we have the Immortal there.
The Immortal is there. The Oracles are really the key. They can target down the sentries. There's not a lot of Gateway units out for Killer right now. He's trying to get them.
There are Gateway units, but those are Stalkers as Zealots.
Yeah.
There's one Stalker.
He needs those warp gates. They're ready now. He needs a warp in.
Oh, he
Guardian
doesn't
Shield
have
goes up.
energy. Here come those Oracles. He doesn't have enough anti-air.
He tries to target the Stalkers with his Immortal, but there's way too much DPS on the Oracles, and it looks like Deer is going to push through.
Simply no. That is not gonna work. He's already falling behind the Harvest account. Of course, it's 2 bases against 1, but this is not gonna work. The Stalkers are gone. No sentries, no nothing. Swagger plays it greedy, and Dia punishes him for it and goes to the Premier League today.
Yep, that's how it is, man. Really greedy build here by Swagger. Does not work out. GG.
GG.
3 gateways and a robo. Don't have enough time. 3 gateways and then a robo. You hold robo and maybe 2 gates and get stalkers. You maybe hold, but 3 gateways and a robo. You just don't have enough of either unit against something like this.
Alright guys, this puts us in a very interesting situation. The game between Roro and Dia is not needed anymore. The guy that you see on camera right now, the STX Seoul Protoss, Dia advances as the first player out of Group E to the Premier League of WCS for Season 3. And Roro is already out, so we have 3 players left in this group. Only one can advance. Curious, MKP, and Swagger. Swagger just took a loss, and we have our next match coming up. And the next match is going to be Curious versus Marine King. If Curious, who's currently on a 2-1 score, wins this game, he's through. Then it's over. Then he will advance together with Dia. If Marine King, on the other hand, if he wins it, then it all comes down to the match between Swagger and Marine King. Because if Marine King wins that as well, then he goes to the Premier League together with Dia. If he loses that game, that potential match between Swagger and Marine King, then we have a 3-way tie. So that's what could happen here. We could either have a 3-way tie or Marine King or Curious going through directly. So Swagger, he has his hopes to go into a tiebreak.
Yeah, he certainly does have his hopes up for that. Marine King, he already showed a great match against Roro. Curious just put a fresh piece of bubblegum in his mouth. He just likes to chew his bubblegum. And we'll see how he does here. He seems confident. He always looks like a stone cold killer. We said this about him a lot. We'll call him the gatekeeper of Code S because usually he's on the up and downs every single season. And very rarely does he get through. But when he does, he just falls back down to the up and downs anyways. I mean, I can't think of an up and down season where Curious was not in the up and downs. I cannot even think of one time. It may never have been a time. He's always there. He's always in one of these groups, and he's going to stand between your way and Code S.
Well, he's going to try right now. Marine King needs to take it this time. He threw the game versus Dia, and that is going to haunt him if he loses now.
Yeah. He's got to be really stressed out going into this one, but if he can keep this cool, Belchevest is not a bad map for Terran versus Zerg.
Just to give you an idea, if Marine King would have actually won the game against Dia, then he would be in the Premier League after a win in this game, and even if he lost it, he would still be in a good position to advance. But as it is, he needs to take it. And Marine King versus Curious.